Hello, hello everybody. Wie geht's? Which is German for how the hell are you? I hope everybody is doing well on this Saturday, and we're still in the heat here in Arizona, but that's okay because well, it is a dry heat. That actually is so true. For those of you who, you know, are used to the humidity and can do that, kudos to you, because we Arizonans we're pretty spoiled with this dry heat where, the temperature, whatever it says, that's what you get. You don't have to add in the heat index, whatever that is that you eastern part of the United States people do. I guess it's not even Eastern, right? It's kind of in the middle too, that you guys have humidity. Anyway, it's going to be nice here super quick. So the heat is just, it's a couple months that, the brutal heat that we desert dwellers can put up with, because then it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Soon it will be. Okay, welcome to all of you on this Saturday. Thank you for tuning in and spending time with me. Or even if you watch the recording, that's cool too. Hello, whatever day it is that you watch this, hello to you. Welcome all the people back who have been watching me, listening patiently as I go through a lot of ums and whatever else, because as I have prefaced before and as I have explained before, that I am a much better writer than I am a speaker or talker, I guess. But I'm getting better at it. This is good practice for me to put my face to my words. So, okay, today, well, as always, first let me say first that for those of you who are new, and this is maybe the first time you've watched one of my videos, and I think this is the 24th of the 30-day Facebook Lives, maybe. Anyway, we're winding down. We're winding down next week. I'll do something after that. I don't know what, but I'll do something, because this is the topic I love to talk about. And the reason I love to talk about it is because I love shedding light onto the darkness, because the darkness can't exist in the light. So that's what I'm here to do. Lots of light, picking up those slimy rocks and seeing what's underneath, and, making all the critters scatter. Okay, first, before I start, just a reminder to all of you that who are putting your names in to win a free copy of my book, which I have in print, in hard copy, but it won't be out in bookstores until next year. But if you want to win an autographed copy that I will mail to you at my expense, not your expense, my expense. All you have to do is share any one of my videos. And I get a notification, so you don't have to tell me you share it, because I'll see it. It'll pop up and say, so-and-so shared your video. So, and I have lots of you sharing lots of videos. I'm paying attention, I'm watching. I'm gonna give up, hi everybody. Hi Hannah, hi Lara. My plan is to give out 10 copies, but I might give out more, I don't know. Also, I keep forgetting to say this. I said it once or twice maybe, but if you have privacy issues, like you are in a place where I used to be all those years ago, where you don't want anybody, because people may be watching, so you don't want to even like a video, or, definitely don't want to be announced as a winner of my book or anything like that. That's totally cool. Send me a private message. Let me know what's going on, and, it's okay. I'll take care of you. I understand. Don't put yourself at risk to do this. Hi everybody. Okay. Today I want to talk about, this is a I don't want to say sensitive, because I don't have a problem really talking about anything about my past at this point, because I have that emotional freedom and emotional detachment from it. But there are I've said this before that, even when our open wounds turn into scars, we still have the scars, right? So can't see, but I'm covered in scars. And some of them are a little tender, if that makes sense. So it's not like I'm bothered by talking about it or like, oh, this is a scar. It's just, oh. And this is also a good thing just to keep in mind as you're getting to that place in your healing and recovery process where you are moving away from the open wound. It is closing up. But don't fight if you're still feeling tender about certain things. Sometimes maybe you'll feel sad about a memory that comes up, or especially on the topic we're talking about today, right? When it comes to people, family, and friends that you're going to lose or maybe have already lost. So don't be ashamed or feel like you have to get to a place where you feel nothing for nobody. I don't know if you can even get to that place, and I don't know if you want to be at that place because you don't want to cut off all feeling, right? So it's okay to, I'll give you an example that, it was sort of recent, I guess, last year when, it had been a process with my father of letting him go and deciding, you know what, I came to a point where I made a statement and promised to myself, and I said, I am no longer my father's daughter because of the pain he has caused me and also my family, my kids, my mother, my brother. So that was all fine. I let that go, and I do have a scar, and I'm okay with all that. But there are moments that I'm reminded that I don't have a father. I wasn't given the father that I deserved. I was given a shitty father. And that's not my fault. It had nothing to do with that. It just is what it is. So I think there will always be a little sadness there, when a memory comes up or whatever. Or just when, like if you have a scar and you're like, oh, I remember, like I have this scar. I have two scars. They're actually good memories now. I have a scar. It's very, very faint on my calf that was from, I think it was like from 8th grade when my brother and I were riding our ATCs. For those of you who are my age out there, this is before the ATV days. These are ATCs, the three-wheelers that like killed a ton of fucking people and maimed the rest of us. Yes, so I have a scar from one of those because it was so cold outside. It was like winter. And it was so cold that I had been out for hours and hours and hours. Not because, I'm only in like 7th, 8th grade, so I wasn't prepared with my clothing. And I was so cold, I couldn't feel anything. And I didn't feel anything until it was actually burning through my jeans. I had my legs against the engine. Anyway, so that's a scar. My other scar it's very, very tiny, like nobody could. And if I'm tan, you can't see it. It's on the top of my foot. And this is from 4th grade. It's from my first kiss. It's from my first kiss. I have a scar to remind me of my first kiss. 4th grade, Bobby Siminoff, in his backyard. We were jumping on his trampoline. And we were, jumping like this together. And then on the top of the jump, he grabbed me and kissed me. And when I came back down, I tripped or my legs buckled or whatever from the kiss. And I fell back into the springs and I started bleeding. And then his mom came out. She's like, oh my God, you're bleeding. Anyway, that was from my first kiss. Great kiss. Okay. So anyway, we have these scars. And that's what I'm saying about, I just, with the stuff that we're talking about today, when you get to that place that they are turning into scars, right? And they're not open wounds anymore. Just still feel it if it's tender, if it makes you sad, just feel that, honor it, then you can let it go. Okay. Talking about healing and recovery after a relationship with a narcissist. One of the hardest parts about this, because this is your growth, okay? If you're moving from the darkness to the light, this is growth for you. It may not feel like it. It may not feel like you're moving forward, but this is growth. So a lot of people are going to have a problem with your growth. And that's why I wanted to talk today about who you're going to lose. Not only who you're going to lose, but who you need to let go. Oh, great question, Lara. I'm going to address that. She's asking, what about the people who are basically on your team, but still play neutral? Those are the fence sitters. I'm going to talk about them. Oh, that's painful. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. This is going to be painful. But in the end, it's all good for you. I'm telling you, from my place where I am today, back then, I can look at it and go, the people that I lost, including my closest friends, my two closest friends in the world at the time, I lost them. And that was incredibly painful. And I will say that it's one of the scars that's tender. I'm sure it will always be tender, right? But I'm telling you this because no matter how hard that was for me to do, to let them go, I'm telling you that opened up for me to get back in touch with a lot of my true friends and also find new true friends. So you're going through this growth, and also you go through that period of you escape the darkness, and then you go into your cocoon for your recovery and healing, right? Take your kids in there if you have to, where you're just focused on yourself and or your kids, and that's where your healing process is happening. This is all growth, even if it doesn't feel like it. So there are going to be people, and it really doesn't make any common sense. It doesn't stand up logically that some people do this. But there are some people that with your growth, they're not going to like it. They're not going to like it. Especially if you start speaking out or making boundaries or telling your story. There are some people that are not going to like it because they preferred it when you were quiet, even if you were suffering and they knew it, even if you were miserable and they knew you were miserable. They still preferred it when you were quiet and you were just in that place, right? I know it makes zero sense, but there are people out there, both close, people who are close to you and people who are not so close, that, and I believe the reason is because when you, like, for example, when I was starting to move away and start my growth and starting opening my mouth and talking, and this was not something people were used to. They were used to me being quiet and, in submission to my situation and just not making waves, not causing problems for everybody. So when I started speaking and when I started, which was all good for me, that was healthy for me, that made them uncomfortable for whatever reason, doesn't matter. And don't care what the reason is. Don't go looking for what the reason is. You don't need to care about that because you don't need to put energy toward that, right? But there are people who are going to just be, I'm feeling very uncomfortable. Because let's be honest, there are a lot of people in the world, and I think we all do it maybe at some point in our life, and then we wake up and smell the coffee, is that there's a lot of people who are just extremely superficial. And when you live a superficial life, when it's all about image and it's all about, okay, well, you may be having problems, but can you just keep that behind closed doors and because we're having a party tonight and no. So those people, right? That's like, just be quiet about it. Like, let's just be happy. Why can't you just be happy? Speaking to women, just put a smile on your face, honey, right? Make us all happy by you smiling, right? I'm telling you what, That will have to be a topic, or I'll have to address that, because I have never met a woman, including myself, who likes being told to smile for other people, for other people's benefit. Anyway, they do, there are people like that. These are the easier ones to let go. And I think the key is just don't spend your time or energy trying to figure them out. Or I had a problem in the beginning with, I was sort of in a place where my pain was coming from the fact that I was like, if this is good for me, why wouldn't you want this for me, right? And they chose, no, we don't want that for you. We want to stay comfortable. So yeah, it hurts a little bit. But you can't risk your own growth and escape from pain for anybody else, even family members. So that's what we're gonna, that's what I want to talk about. Also with the fence sitters. So this is what Laura was saying, as far as you have friends. Okay, this is I told you, this is a scar for me. Don't worry about me. I'm talking because I'm okay with all of this. So I don't need, I know a lot of people in the past are like, I don't need your pity, or definitely not. I'm in a very good place. That's why I can talk about that. So I'm saying that this is one of those scars that's tender for me, right? Because it's just one of those memories that makes me kind of sad. But then, and then I can move on, right? And talk about it. So the fence sitters people, the ones who you're not close to, you can just handle, right? And what I mean by fence sitters are people who do not come 100% to your side. I don't mean 80% to your side. I mean 100% to your side, no question. You know exactly where you stand with them. You feel safe with them. You know they have your back. This is 100%. These are the people you want. The fence sitters are not 100%. They're less than 100%. Whatever that percentage is, it doesn't matter. You don't want them in your life anymore because they can't make the commitment to your well-being, right? And let's face it, fence sitters are not neutral. There's no such thing as neutral when it comes to, you know, there's the truth as far as there is the narcissist, there's an abuser, and there's a victim of that narcissist, a victim of that abuse. There is no neutral, folks, of sitting in between. No neutral. Now, obviously, if you have, you know, two healthy people who are splitting apart, but that's not why we're here. That's not why I'm here. I wish everybody was healthy. That'd be awesome. So we're not talking about those people. We're talking about, in these situations, fence sitters are dangerous for you because you run the risk of being re-victimized and re-traumatized by their apathy, right? I strongly believe, and there's a great quote, and I'm going to screw it up, I know. Forget it. I'm not even going to try the quote. I'm going to say what the point is about fence sitters, about these types of people who cannot choose a side. If a person is claiming, I'm neutral, I'm not choosing sides, they actually are choosing a side. They're choosing a side of the oppressor, of the abuser, of the narcissist. Okay? So this is painful because when you have, let's say, close friends or family members that are fence sitters, and what that means is that, again, you know, you're going through pain, you're trying to heal and recover, and fence sitters are victim blamers sometimes, right? So you can think that they're your close friends, and yet they say things once in a while, or just the fact that, for example, I don't expect anybody to, when somebody is loyal to me, and likewise, when I am, you know, I am a very loyal friend. So I had to look at much of this and say, well, what would I do in this situation? I would not do that. I would be 100% on their side. I would not be waffling. I would not at all. You know, I came from a time, I don't know, and I've told you all about my high school bestie Mitz, who is like this. We came from a time where you were on your friend's side no matter what when it came to boys, when it came to guys, right? No question, you're on her side. This does not mean that you're on your friend's side. This does not mean that you're gonna, there's no confrontation. I don't need you to go beat anybody up or go egg their house. I don't know if people do that anymore, but we used to do that. That's not what that means. It just means that when you're with your friend, this is a non-fence-sitter, you know that they are absolutely on your side. And if they were to run into that other person who hurt you so desperately, they would definitely say what was on their mind, right? So fence sitters enable the abuser. Fence sitters enable the narcissist. This is really painful when this is your own family and close friend. Thank you for typing that. So they put that quote that I was like, bleh, in the, about if you're neutral, you've chosen the side of the oppressor. Thank you for putting that in there. Okay, yes, this is painful. Here's the reason why. One of the reasons why is that when I was in this situation, and like I said, my two closest friends at the time, who I considered my two closest friends, I shared with them information of my pain, right? And then they also witnessed it. A lot of it I didn't share, but I didn't need to. They knew it. And here's what I expected and what I would have had done in that situation. And I actually did do it to one of my friends who was treated horribly by her husband at the time. And I was like, when I was around her husband, I'm like, I'm not doing any fake anything. I don't like you, all of that. So that's what I expected, right? Isn't that what we expect from our true friends, right? Is that you're in pain. So if, you know, if your friend happens to see the person, the narcissist out, they're not going to buy a ticket to a show. They're not going to enable him. They're not going to pretend nothing's going on, right? Because they're letting him get away with it. No, a true friend would not do this. So letting those people go is, you know, it's really hard. So Donna's asking about, what about friends or family that are connected with the fence sitters? Well, I just say you got to figure out, you need to let go of the fence sitters. If there's, it can get complicated, I know, but basically you want people around you, and that's your family too. And if your family's not doing it, this is like Chris Godina says, if you wouldn't tolerate this from just a regular person, if you wouldn't tolerate abuse from a regular person, then you don't tolerate it from a family member. Just because a family member, that whole blood is thicker than water, that's stupid. That's so stupid. Like, you didn't pick your family. You were born into a family. You didn't pick your parents. That's stupid. You need to let them go too. But whoever it is, you just need to ask yourself some hard questions. And the reason they're hard is because the answers you're going to have to accept, and then you're going to have to do something about it if it's not an answer that is good for you. So you have to ask yourself hard questions as far as, you know, I'll give an example. Not my example. I'm just giving a hypothetical. Your sister-in-law is you feel kind of safe around her. You think she's on your side, right? But then you hear from somebody else in the family that she's hanging out with, you know, the guy who hurt you, and saying, you know, if there's any doubt, you need to let these people go. Because here's the thing. First of all, you don't want to spend your energy convincing anybody. I talked about this before. That's why when I left my marriage, I also left his family, because I wasn't going to try to convince them, because they had already, you know, we've got this smear campaign against us already, right? Remember I said that the narcissist has already written a book about you that everybody's read that you don't know about. So I realized that there had been so much narrative and so much story built up against me to put me in a negative light, and, you know, that were mainly lies and exaggerations, but still nonetheless, I realized that I couldn't and I wouldn't waste my time or energy trying to convince these people otherwise. I had to let them go. Had to let them go, right? So I'm just reading the comments. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Again, when that's the part that's so hard, is because when this happens, when we escape the relationship and we're starting to, you know, starting that recovery and healing process, that's when you also start learning about what people are saying about you, the stories that are going around, and it's up to you to weed out the people who are believing the bullshit. If they're believing that, they don't deserve to be in your new fabulous life, which may not feel new and fabulous when you're in it, right? When you're right in this recovery and healing process, but it will be real and fabulous one day. I can promise you that you have to, so they don't deserve it. These people of my past, again, no judgment. I'm not saying whether they're bad or good, or I'm indifferent to that. I'm indifferent to their motive or why they did it. The fact is they showed me who they are. People showed me who they are. They showed me, if they were a fence sitter, they're showing me whose side they're on, because fence sitters are not on your side. If they're on the fence, they're not on your side, period. Because somebody who is on your side is 100% on your side, and they will let you know, I am 100% with you. I've got your back. You don't have to worry about me. I'm here for you, right? With no question marks. So again, that's why I realized I have to let them go, because they showed me who they were at the time. They showed me that they were not going to be there for me, or they showed me that they were going to believe the stories about me, even though I will say, even though in their gut, their gut instinct is, people's gut instinct are telling them the truth. They just don't choose to believe it, or they're not, they don't feel strongly enough to do anything about it. So they just, you know, the narcissist will continue his one-man show. These people will enable it, buy a ticket, continue to buy a ticket, or just put up with it, right? Which is enabling it. You don't need these people in your life. I did not need these people in my life, because they're showing you who they are. They're showing you what kind of person they are. You know, it is tough. And like, let me read what Donna's saying. Yes, so like she's saying, and this goes back to me saying, I don't make a judgment on whether people are good or bad or innocent or guilty about this, right? But that's what she's saying, is that some people are just innocent bystanders. And maybe they're unaware that they are fence sitters, right? Okay, but you gotta go do that shit over there. Right? I'm not going to teach you how to do the right thing in this situation, because guess what? And as I'm speaking about myself at that time, I'm not going to teach you, fence sitter, how to do the right thing in this situation, because I have a lot of healing and recovery to do. I'm in a lot of pain. I have kids I need to take care of. I need to go in that direction. And fence sitters are going to stay right where they're at. I'm not hanging around there. This leads me to the part of what I started out with saying is that when you're going through this growth and you're leaving these people behind, right? Or the people that are around you that are still in your presence, those people who do not react well to you changing, those people who don't like it that you're speaking out, right, and telling your story. I mean, I had women, I think this was a generational thing because they were older, but I had a couple women when I first started speaking out, especially when my story was on the front page of the Arizona Republic because I was stalked and cyber stalked to an obscene level. And when I started talking about that, there were actually a couple of women who were like, why would you want to air your dirty laundry? Okay, I don't know if that's a generational thing. Hopefully we're going to leave that in the past generations, because basically a woman is telling another woman that just, shh, honey, whatever happened to you, whatever you suffered, just really let's keep it quiet, shall we? Because we don't want to rock the boat here. I did not follow that advice. Okay, so some people are not going to react well to your changing. That's okay. Again, you can do all of these things by just letting them go. I even did that with my father. Just there's no big confrontation. I didn't even see him. It had nothing to do with him. It had everything to do with me, of just, you know what, you're not going to be in my life anymore. You're not going to be in my space anymore. You're not going to have any control anymore to hurt me or those around me. And that's what we're going to do. And it was done. I will be done. Yeah, Sarah is saying that it is generational. That why, of course, men can get away with abuse because that is a total generational thing. Okay, this is not to say obviously there are female narcissists and male victims, but the point I'm trying to make here is, and these are the victim blamers. You don't want them in your life either. Is that this comes from far back, right? That women just, be quiet about what's happening in the home, and men can just get away with it. That is generational. That's part of our history. So we're changing that. All of us women here, we're all changing that. Time to speak up, remember? That's what we're doing. Okay, family members. Oh, that sucks. It's painful. I'm not gonna lie, it's painful. It sucks. A lot of us who are have escaped abusive relationships with a narcissist have one parent or two that are narcissists or abusive. Makes perfect sense. I shared with you all that it made perfect sense why I left my house with an abusive father and went straight into 2 abusive marriages. That makes perfect sense, right? So when you go, when you're going through that growth and that change and you're moving from the darkness to the light, these people, even if it is your own family members that are trying to keep you in the darkness, whether it's through victim blaming or being a fence sitter or just whatever it is, or continuing their abuse of you. Like if you did have an abusive parent and they're still abusive, that's what happened in my case with my father. I went to him for help and he continued his abuse. So when that happens, when you're moving to the light, there are going to be people, and it's going to be painful if they're family members, who want to keep you in the darkness. They want to keep you back there. They want to keep you quiet. They want to keep you subdued, whatever it is. You got to let them go. You got to let them go. Even if it's your own parent, even if it's a brother, a sister, you have to let them go. This can be as easy as just making a choice to let them go. This doesn't need to be anything where you even need to tell them what's going on or confront them, you know, but you have to take care of yourself. And this is where it's painful, because you have to be a truth teller now to yourself. You have to become a truth teller to yourself. You can't hide behind making excuses for everybody anymore, because that's what we do. When we're in abusive relationships, no matter what it is, we are excuse makers. We have to. We have to make excuses for those who are abusing us. Otherwise, we'd have to do something about it. So now you've moved into a place where if you want to fully recover and heal, you've got to do something about it. So you have to be a truth teller to yourself, and you have to seriously and honestly look at the people around you, even if it's your family members, even if it's your own parent, like I said, your close friend, your brother, sister, whoever it is. And you need to, you know, ask yourself those tough questions and be ready for the answers. And if somebody is purposely and intently causing you pain without changing, or if you've spoken to somebody and said, hey, this is hurting me when you say, act, do this, I would really appreciate if you could be here for me, because I'm hurting right now and I could really use your friendship or your compassion. If that same person is like, yeah, no, can't do that. Or if they say they will, but then they don't, that's your sign, right? I mean, you have to believe people when they're showing you who they are. Now, with a parent, the reason it's painful is because you have to look back over all the years, right? And you have to add it up like math. 2 + 2 + 2 = 6. There's no disputing this. So, for example, when I looked back on my father's behavior and how he not only treated me, but my brother and my mother, and then later on my kids, there was no denying it, of the pattern of abuse that was happening. So it's just a matter of being honest and then accepting those tough answers so you can move on. Here's why you need to, and again, this goes also for the victim shamers. We talked about victim blaming, where people are in any way making you feel like somehow part of this is your fault. Or if somebody says to you, there's 2 sides to every story. No. There's the truth, and then there's what the narcissist, aka the pathological liar, is spinning, right? That's not 2 sides of a story. Okay. So when you go to people, because please give people a chance, right? If you feel, because some people do just need to be educated. I've had people who have said things to me, and I spoke out and said back to them, hey, you know what, this isn't okay. It's not okay. And they were like, oh my God, I am so sorry. I wasn't even thinking when I said, you know, so go that route first. Give people a chance. Give them the benefit of the doubt. But then if, again, they show you who they are, that's when you got to draw a hard line and remove them from your space. Because there's only, you know, in that little cocoon, there's only so much room. You can't have people who you're not sure if they're like spies or they got, you know, half 1 foot in and 1 foot out of it. No. You need, in that cocoon of yours, you just need all love, all friendship, all safety, all the time, always, with no doubt about it. and yes, like Lara's saying, that is the hardest part, letting these friends go. And it does take a while. It took me years too. It does take a while, because it's the same reason that recovery and healing takes a while, is because you were in it for a while, right? It's not like, so you have friends for a while and you go through things and you have experiences, and or with family members, of course it's hard and it takes a long time. But for your benefit, you want to get fully into the light. And if you are, think of like fence sitters and victim blamers, even if they're family members, even if they're close friends, think of them as, think of them as like a ball and chain that you're pulling along. If you keep contact with them, and if you allow them to be in your cocoon, right? You can't make it to the light with them still hanging on like that. Or it's going to take you an exceptionally long time until they just get tired and let go, right? I want to just read the comment. Yeah, like Lara saying, the two sides to every story. I hate that. I hate that so much, because right away it puts blame on the victim. Right away. When somebody tells you, well, there's two sides of every story, they're saying, you had a part in this. Besides, why did you stay so long? Like, why didn't you leave? That is victim blaming to the F-bomb level. This is the key, people. This is the key to fully claiming your space in the light, owning that place in the light. And I promise you that even though you're going to have scars that may remain tender for a while and may give you just a tinge of sadness once in a while once you get here, you will be forever grateful to yourself for letting those people go. Letting those people go. You have to let them go, right? Or you're just hurting yourself. You need full support, love, friendship, compassion, patience. You deserve all these things. You haven't had them for a super long time. When you're with a narcissist, you're not getting any of that. You're starving for real connection. You're starving for love. You're starving for compassion, for sure. You've just been brutalized emotionally, right? And possibly physically too. But especially emotionally speaking, you have just been through the ringer. So you need a tender place to heal in that cocoon. You need a tender and safe place to just lick your wounds, where there's no threat anymore from the outside. And the threats are the fence sitters and the victim blamers, so that you can heal and recover and just take care of yourself and those kiddos if you have them. I am going to, Bonnie's pointing out about, give people a second chance, because sometimes people don't know. Like I just gave the example of, I've heard victim blaming by people where they didn't realize that that's what they were doing. So I educated them in a loving way and said, hey, it's not okay. Can't do this. And they responded by, I'm so sorry. That's totally on me. I didn't realize that I was doing that. Let me show you that I'm here for you, right? Or that I understand. Yes, there's that person. And then the other response is that either like defensive, like, well, whatever it is, defensive, where you have to then argue your point, or you have to defend yourself. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because then all of a sudden you're sitting in the jury box. Not in the jury box, in the witness chair. Right. With the jury convicting you. You don't put yourself there. So give them a chance. Explain to people, and then believe them when they show you who they are. Believe them. Believe them, believe them. It's really hard. When it comes to the difference between people who are, I'm going to share this cartoon. I've shared it before, this Brene Brown, on the difference between empathy or what empathy looks like, because this is super important. Again, when you're going into your cocoon, it's super important that you're surrounding yourself with empathetic people, right? Who get you, who understand you. Even if they don't have any clue as to what you're going through, even if they've never been with a narcissist and they don't know what the hell you're going through, or this is all new to them, they still sit with you within your pain. They still hold your hand and say, I don't know what you're going through, but I'm here for you. What do you need from me? That's empathy. Opposed to somebody else who's like, well, at least you didn't do this, or at least you didn't, like in my case, I hate it when people say that. Well, at least, it's like they're invalidating your experience by saying something like that. I'm going to put this link in right now. It's just a short cartoon. It's so cute. I've said this before. The first time I watched it, it kind of made me choke up, because I was like, because the first time I watched it, I didn't really have anybody in my life at the time, or not many, very few, that knew what empathy was, that were talking to me like this. So now I have all people. All my people are like this in my life. So there's that. I know this is it's a tender place to be when we're making these decisions about who we need to let go of. So I just want to remind you of your strength in this, and keep your eye on the prize of your emotional freedom, your emotional detachment, getting over the narcissist for good, forever, for always, and moving into a life that you deserve, that you most certainly deserve, a life that maybe you can't even dream of now because you don't even have a frame of reference, but a great, fantastic life out there. Remember this as you're going through this, and I know how weak you must feel when you're having to make these hard decisions. Remember that you are the strong one. You are so strong. You just don't know it because you've had a narcissist just beat that sense out of you, right? They have convinced you that you're not strong, when actually the narcissist is the weak one. They're the cowards, right? So I just want to remind you of your strength as you're going through this process. You know, when you're walking on a sidewalk and you see a dandelion pushing up through the cracks of concrete, that's how strong you are. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. Okay. I loved being here with you all on a Saturday. Tomorrow is Sunday, and so I thought, I mean, y'all know that. I'm just pointing it out because tomorrow the topic is going to be, because it's Sunday, it's a perfect day for this topic, forgiveness. It's not what you think. Don't worry. Nobody's going to ask you to forgive your abuser. Don't worry about that. I'm going to talk all about that tomorrow. So I hope you'll join me. It's a good thing. Forgiveness is a good thing, but not maybe in the way that you're thinking. So don't worry. It's all good. It's going to be good news. Okay. For those of you, again, if you share my videos, then I'll put you in a drawing for a print copy. If you would like that's the ebook cover. If you would like an ebook, if you haven't gotten one yet, I'm going to put my website in the comments and go there today for those of you watching and get a free copy of the ebook. And as always, I will put in my event schedule also in the comments, the link. I go around the country with Chris Godinez, who is the expert on all things narcissists, and she's a fantastic warrior goddess of a woman. If you don't know her, know her. She's amazing. She has a YouTube channel that all of that is on the event schedule too if you want to see more about her. But anyway, we go around the country talking to small groups of people. We're there for you to hear your story. Come join us and be around. No fence sitters and no victim blamers in our midst. None allowed. It's just all love and support, guidance, a hug. We're going to be in Reno next Saturday, the 14th. Oh, a week from today. Yeah. Around this time. I don't know what time it is in Reno. I'm in Arizona. I have no clue what, you know, we don't change time here, so who knows? I just know Arizona time. Okay. If you are in the area, I would love to see you go to the Eventbrite site to see where else I'm going to be. And until tomorrow, remember your strength. Remember that you're not alone in this, that you are going to make your way through this, right? If you're in your cocoon right now, it may seem dark and lonely in there, but you're preparing, you are moving forward, it is a process of growth for you, even though it doesn't feel like you're moving forward. And then one day, you will become the butterfly. I promise. I promise. I swear. I swear. I guarantee it. Okay. All right. Sending lots of hope and strength to those of you today who don't have much of either. Okay. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. I'm going to go play with my dogs who are chewing on something. I don't know. Okay. Love to you all. Bye.